We're discussing what happened over the weekend in Gitui Catholic Church and what occasioned it. And I think we begin with Jacoyo because I cut you short. We needed to take a break. Yes.
And you did ask me, how do I know they were sent?
Yes. by a politician.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
In every police case, there is an OB number. Police act on a tip. Even if there is an OB number, go the extra mile. The church, we have not seen complaint from the church where this rogue MP went to. We have not seen the police defend themselves. All we saw yesterday, the police saying they are investigating. You see, if you are investigating, then police can do two things. Recommend prosecution, in which case it goes to the DPP. Yeah. But it might make you wonder how an event happens in daytime in Murang'a, and by evening police have surrounded royal media. That is barbaric. Let me just tell you, because I've been in those scenarios before. I am not going to support that one. And I know this MP is rogue. His record and his mouth is dirty in terms of incitement. I saw how he was celebrating that the police were killing people in Kisumu during the post-election violence. This same MP. But that does not mean we must not defend his right to the law. I think the church cannot get away with it. The police cannot get away with it. The MP must apologize to his constituents and to Kenyans.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let me make three comments, and let's be clear on this. First of all, I think the suggestion by Dr. Boni Halwale that if you learn that you are being sought by the police, you do not have to report immediately if you have other urgent business of a professional nature or otherwise is not correct. And I've said in this show before that while the police must be independent and they must do their work as a service, not as a force, when you learn that you are being sought, then you ought to comply at the next available opportunity. I think that somebody may have misadvised my colleague, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, because you cannot learn that the police are seeking you, but then you choose to be in the same vicinity in your own constituency doing all sorts of other activities that I saw him doing, going to this primary school, going to the other one, speaking to everyone. That is not correct, because that suggests some measure of contempt. Two, I really, and I said this before, the ban by the Catholic Church is interesting because it's not the first time. You will remember that in April this year, and I'm Catholic, the Catholic Conference of Bishops actually announced through Bishop David Kamau, speaking in St. Mary's Msongari, that they had banned politicians from the pulpit. So I don't know how my church allowed us, the politicians, again to come back to the pulpit to the point of fist fighting. At that point, the debate then was the amount of contribution that the DP was making and the amount of politics he was talking. Yes. And so many of us welcomed it, including in this show, because we said that is a way of preserving the sanctity of the church. So it then suggests that this idea of banning, it might be a weekly ban, because in another 2 weeks we might end up banning. Thirdly, I think that we should always, and on this, you know, Senator Aaron Cheruiyot, this is a language we've always spoken. You remember when we had all our tribulations as NASA, as ODM, and we were, you know, constantly inhaling smoke, running between corridors and chasing other colleagues who were being frustrated. And we insisted, as I still do now, that the police must still be fair. The police must be independent. They must be a service and not a force. It is on this panel, and I remember on that day, Senator Kimani Wamatangi was here, yes, when my colleague Kimani Ichung'wa appeared, and I said that I will not sit with him in a panel unless he withdraws remarks that were attributed to him, that were apparently praising the police for brutalizing some of us. and he sought to explain it in a way that I did not find sustainable, and I walked out.
And I was hosting the show.
You were actually hosting the show on that day.
Yes.
And now when I see him lamenting the very same way I was lamenting, it just makes me say what I sometimes say generously, for no pay as a lawyer, that give the devil the benefit of the law, because you don't know when you will need it. I think we must say now, we must say then, we must say in future, that the police need to be independent, the police need to be a force, but the police must be respected as much as they must respect all of us. But lastly, we must also be cautious, because there's some talk that can end up to being on the provocative, including on this panel. When there's a matter of police investigation, but all you keep doing is talking foul either of the IG or of the CS or of the PS and calling them names, the way I have seen sometimes it's been done, especially when you are the one under investigation. Now that is also unnecessary provocation. I think that is also a measure that should be looked into.
Okay.